Notcoin is the leading meme coin on the Ton blockchain. The retail investor got completely hammered. The price went down by more than 90%. But does it make sense to buy now? In the end, crypto is all about buying low and selling high. It's about doing the opposite of what the vast majority is doing. And right now, the vast majority is selling. Now, at one point, Notcoin was worth 2.5 cents. Now it's worth less than 0.2 cents. It's got a market cap of 186 million. It's the largest of the tokens on the Ton blockchain. Now, we can't look at Notcoin without looking at Ton itself, right? If the Ton ecosystem is going down, then of course Notcoin has a problem as well. What we've got over here is the total value locked, so the capital on chain for Ton. We had a very nice expansion in 2024 that then peaked at almost 800 million worth of assets. Since then, we declined quite a bit and we are only at 146 million. Now, where does this decline come from? Is this all just because Toncoin went down? The answer is no, because when we look at the total value locked measured in Ton, we see the same kind of trend. So there's actually capital outflows. It's not just the capital on the chain that gets valued less. There's actually outflows. Now here's the problem. The activity on the Ton blockchain absolutely crashed. It went down much more than the competition. In the last 24 hours, we only had trading volume worth of 12.4 million on Ton. Compare this with Polygon. Polygon is more than 10 times the trading volume. Avalanche is even larger than Polygon. And then of course we've got Solana. Solana is more than 100 times the size of Ton in terms of trading volume in the last 24 hours. The market cap of Toncoin is 7.7 billion and the market cap of Solana is not 100 times that. It's less than 10 times that. In other words, Ton still seems to be expensive relative to its current activity. And the problem is that even though the activity is low, it continues shrinking further. What we've got over here is the number of transactions per month for various altcoins, for various meme coins on the Ton blockchain. We've got Notcoin in orange, we've got Anon in green, Hamster is in blue, Durev is in dark gray. So all of the trading volume is going down. It continues to shrink. Have a look at the number of users on the Ton blockchain. There was a lot of usage in Q2 and Q3 of 2024, but it has come down quite a bit since then. So this is in line with the total value locked on the Ton blockchain, right? When users came, capital came as well. When users left, capital left as well. Here's the number of transactions on the Ton blockchain, again, rather a declining trend. So this is not just for the meme coins, this is all transactions across the entire blockchain. The capital inflows also came pretty much to a halt. So all of the bridging that happened from the Ethereum chain to the Ton chain now is close to zero. Have a look at the Ton dominance. So what's the market cap of the open network token relative to all of crypto? And yes, Bitcoin went down, the altcoins went down, but Ton went down even more. From the top in May of 2024 to today, a decline relative to the rest of crypto of an additional 71%. Now there is one case to be made for Ton and as per extension also for Notcoin, and that's potential manipulation by the market makers. The market makers own a lot of the supply and sometimes they want to increase volatility just to spark some interest in the token by the retail investor. And pretty much all of trading volume happens on the centralized exchanges. Binance is at number 1, followed by Bybit and OKX. And we don't just have the spot market, we've also got the bets on the price, which helps with leverage, which helps with potential volatility. There is also this chart, which tells a positive story. This is Toncoin relative to Bitcoin. And we seem to have found a floor at very similar levels to where we're currently trading at. In the past, we saw rallies of Ton outperforming Bitcoin of almost 250%. Nobody knows if this floor will prevail, but it's still something noteworthy, right? It could bring some demand. The only problem is that this is Toncoin. It is not Notcoin. And Notcoin unfortunately underperforms TON very consistently. So some people have this idea, just because something is more risky, as in a meme coin on a blockchain, it should also go up more over time when we are at least in a bull market. But that's not necessarily always true. So this is Notcoin relative to Toncoin, and this is a very constant underperformance. After the initial launch, Notcoin underperformed Toncoin by roughly 70%. Could we short-term rally a bit because we are at the lower end of this trading range? Yes, we could, but I'm never a fan of betting against the general trend. I think it's better to short the token when it's high at the trading range than trying to pick the bottoms, hoping for some kind of gain. And then if the floor does not prevail, just getting completely hammered, right? This can also happen. When the market overall looks like this, does it really make sense trying to fish for bottoms? Doesn't it make much more sense to just bet on falling prices? Among the top 100 cryptocurrencies, the vast majority of altcoins underperformed Bitcoin in the last year. And that happened while Bitcoin actually went up. So just taking on more risk does not mean more performance, even during rising times. During falling times, that's of course even more pronounced. The Bitcoin dominance continues to climb, and that's likely going to stay until we hit at least 70%. Right? When we then crash in Bitcoin dominance, that's altcoin season. That's when we want to own something like TON. But currently, it makes much more sense to bet on falling altcoins. The market as a whole still looks very bearish. This is the Bitcoin price over the long term. This is just two curved lines that connects the tops and the bottoms relatively well. Just based on this very simple long-term chart, we should expect Bitcoin to continue to go down. And then of course the altcoins go down even more. Notcoin will go down, Toncoin will go down, Bitcoin will go down as well, but probably the altcoins will continue to underperform. The average cost basis of the market also is still very low. It's at $44,000. The vast majority of Bitcoin holders are still in profit, and they are taking the profit now. It makes sense to buy against the grain. It makes sense to get in at the end of a bear market when we are below the realized price, below the average cost basis. We are still far away from this. It's still time to bet on falling prices, not time to try to fish for bottoms. Nobody knows whether or not this bottom in TON relative to Bitcoin will prevail. But even if TON outperforms Bitcoin, but Bitcoin at the same time goes down by 50%, did we really gain that much? Is it really worth the risk? Now, I've been talking about this strategy of betting on falling prices of altcoins for several weeks already on this channel. Feel free to check out prior videos. We shorted altcoins since Bitcoin hit roughly 100K. And here's the proof. Here are the recent trades by the community members that had been published with the rest. People are now still making money, simply not by buying tokens, but instead by betting on falling, very weak altcoins. Some altcoins simply continue to underperform long term, as does Notcoin relative to Toncoin. With some leverage, the gains can be massive, but again, it's all about risk management as well. I think that's actually the main reason why most people never really bet on falling prices in the grand scheme. Most people are scared of setting this properly up. They don't know what are the right platforms, what's the proper risk management, how can we set this up in a way that we don't get liquidated, or at least when we do get liquidated, that it doesn't impact our overall portfolio that much that we can't recover. It's a balance to be found, right? We want to have enough upside, but we want to reduce our risk of ruin as well. Most people focus too much on picking the right altcoin. I think it's more important to just be directionally correct. If directionally we tend to trend down, then it's much better to bet on falling prices. If we are super depressed, nobody wants to hear about Bitcoin, there's apathy in the market, and Bitcoin is already at 40 or 30K, then it might make sense to bet on rising prices. But we are very far away from that right now. Now, to close the knowledge gap on how to properly short, how to properly also do risk assessments, how to do on-chain analytics, how to figure out tokenomics, etc., I have made more than 100 tutorial videos. Feel free to check them out. They're all part of the premium membership of this channel. So the link is down below. It's thebitcoinstrategy.com. And because a lot of people lost money in this crash, I've also reduced the monthly rate from 165 to 125 per month. There's also a 1-week money back guarantee. So in case you don't like premium, just message me within the first week and I will refund you 100%. There's really zero risk for you. Now, I believe it's a mistake trying to find a winner in this market. I think it's much better just to go with the general direction. When we are in a bull market, it's all about buying the dip. When we are in a bear market, it's all about shorting the pumps. So we do the exact opposite. We look for opportunities and then we are shorting when the market as a whole is contracting. If it's your first time here, feel free to subscribe. I publish videos regularly. A like would be very much appreciated as well. It helps the channel grow. See you again on YouTube or see you in premium. Cheers.